Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Kris. This was requested. How almost had a yawn there. How 156 years of British rule shaped Hong Kong. It's from Vox. Before we get started, if you can click that thumbs up, bare minimum, please. Subscribe to the channel if you like the content. And then there's a thanks button here. You can click on that. Donate to the channel if you want to keep it going. So, let's see how it shaped Hong Kong.
I'm in China, but it certainly feels like I'm in Great Britain.
Hong Kong, under British rule, has grown a modern western city in an eastern setting.
And right in the center of downtown Hong Kong are the British Cricket Club grounds. Cricket has been played on these grounds since 1880.
Hong Kong is a peculiar place. It's a British colony.
Isn't that guy like Johnny Harris or something like that? He has a channel. I've done a couple of his videos. I don't know if I got his name right, but okay. Oh, so this is Johnny. Okay, yeah. Johnny Harris. Yes. When I scrolled down, I should have noticed that. He looked familiar when he was holding the scone 7 years ago. So maybe he doesn't work for Vox anymore. I don't know.
Until just 1997. And because of that, the British culture here is so visible. This ferry was set up by the British in 1888.
Day and night, the five-star ferry comes and goes, providing cross-harbor transportation.
These trams were brought over by the British in the early 1900s. London, you'll see double-decker buses that actually look exactly like the buses here. You notice what side of the road they're driving on? So many of the street names, road names, are British.
The famous Happy Valley racetrack, reputedly the most beautiful in the East.
Come on! Rolling through this park, and I stumbled upon a legit bowling green, a place where they play bowls. Old British sport that is just right here in the middle of Hong Kong.
The British brought good administration and a gracious way of living, typified by these homes and apartments on Victoria Peak.
Around the late 1600s or early 1700s, Britain started trading with China. China had all sorts of stuff that the West wanted, porcelain, silk. But there was one thing that Britain loved more than anything else, the herb called tea. China was really the only place on earth that was producing tea on a massive scale, and the people back in Britain became totally hooked on it.
Stupid question. What was the drink in England before tea? I'm going to guess it was like cider, beer, wine, something like that, because I know water itself probably wasn't clean enough to just drink as is. I don't think they knew to boil the water before they did like we do today. So I'm just curious. This is just a random question.
But there was one snag for the British government when it came to the tea trade, which is that the Chinese emperor would only take
Madeira. That was what I was thinking. Nothing to do with the last 5 seconds. So, sorry.
When it came to the tea trade, which is that the Chinese emperor would only take pure silver bullion, basically coins and like bars of silver, in exchange for tea. That was the deal. And the British were fine with that. They were like, whatever, man, we'll pay for this, such a valuable thing. Eventually, Britain's treasury ran really low on silver, and it became a national crisis. So Britain came up with a horribly unethical solution to their tea-silver problem. They started smuggling in opium, the highly addictive narcotic that was illegal in China. Britain would sell this opium in exchange for Chinese silver, which they then used to buy tea. And this was the solution to their problem. An illegal drug trade, which is just mind-blowing to me.
Sorry, I'm going to go back one more time. So from 1780, you had a little bit. And then you can see about 1820, I'm going to guess, is when their treasury started going, you know, we really don't have a lot of silver, but we got a lot of opium. Wow. So in a 60-year span, they went from, I'm just going to call this 500 tons, just, you know, whatever, middle of the road. And in a 60-year span, they elevated up to, where are we at? We're right here. Sorry, I'm in the way, so I'm about a little over the 6,000 part, so we'll call it 6,500. Jeez. So about 1 ton every decade. One more ton every decade. I don't know how much that would be in terms of like opium product. I mean, obviously, opium shipments into China, 1650. Oh, 1650 it started. My fault. I didn't read the top. But still, 1650. So 130 years. I mean, 130. Let's just say this is 130 years right here. Right, it's next to nothing, and then you can see a 40-year jump here where you're like, "Ooh, that's," and then a 60-year jump where you're like, "Ooh, wow, that is a lot of opium."
So eventually the Chinese government caught on to this illegal drug trade and they cracked down. They seized all the opium.
Yeah, because the people were going to the government going, "Can we get some more of that silver, baby? We need it. We need to give the silver away. We got to buy things." And China's like, "Wow, you guys are really hurting. What do you need the silver for? We got to buy opium, baby, from the British." Wait a minute.
And threw 20,000 chests of opium into the sea. Britain wasn't happy about China seizing all of its opium, so it showed up with its big gun opium and threw 20,000 chests of opium into the sea.
China had an opium tea party, like the Boston Tea Party. Wow. 20,000. What was the American, I mean, how much tea was thrown in the Boston Harbor?
340 chests.
300.
Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia. The property damage
Hey.
amounted to the destruction of 92,000 pounds, or 340 chests of tea, reported by the British East India Company, worth 9,659 pounds, or roughly $1,700,000 in today's money.
340 chests of tea equaled 92,000 pounds. And that cost roughly $1.7 million in today's money in the British East India Company. 340 chests of tea. They threw 20,000 in. Let me hear it again.
Opium and threw 20,000 chests of opium into the sea.
Okay, I have to. China threw 20,000 chests of opium into the sea. After 6 weeks, turned over 2.6 million pounds of opium. 20,000 chests to a peak of wait. Oh, now I got to read an article. I don't want to read an article. You had all that information right on the button. Oh, please. It says to a peak of 87,000 chests. And then ... And it wants me to click on the article. I click on the article. Oh, why don't I just click on this one? 1839, Chinese people represented by over 1,150,000 kilograms of opium was destroyed publicly on the beach. The world was shocked. Shocked at what? That they destroyed opium? That shouldn't be the shock. The fact that the opium was there should be the shock. What was the world saying? How dare they just destroy all that opium? We would have used it. We could have used it. For what? I don't know. Cookies? I don't know what you'd use it for. Wow. Okay, so it's nothing like the American Boston Tea Party. 340 chests to 20,000 chests of opium. Not the same.
Britain wasn't happy about China seizing all of its opium, so it showed up with its big gunboats and started a war, the Opium Wars.
I've seen a video on the Opium Wars before, but again, it's a year or two, so it's nice to get a refresher in a way at times.
They eventually negotiated a series of peace deals, and a part of those deals was that China was going to give this rocky island that didn't really have many people living on it to Britain. In the text of the treaty, they put that the British will have Hong Kong for 99 years. But the diplomat who negotiated the treaty said later that in his mind 99 years was, quote, as good as forever, meaning they had no intention of ever giving it back. So Britain's thirst for tea brought them into a war with China that eventually gave them a new colony, Hong Kong, here in Asia.
Hong Kong, a British colony, a tourist paradise for duty-free shoppers. China, communist China, lies only a few miles away just across the border.
Just walked into this grocery store to meet Billy, who's a historian here, and we're just looking at a bunch of maps, which is like my kind of activity.
因為呢個就係一個十字交界位，係華人聚居、生活同埋洋人活動嘅一個交界處。
So one of the things the British did as soon as they got here is they started drawing their own borders in the city to divide them from the local Chinese.
而呢一條街之所以重要咧，就係我哋分界嘅第一條街道。 就係咁樣嚟去分咗一個無形嘅界線。喺荷里活道以下嘅地方係中國人活動嘅，係上邊咧就係夜晚歐洲人佢哋居住嘅地方。而家嘅情況當然佢唔係一種隔離，但係起碼我哋嘅生活形態其實仍然係有分別。
But let's talk about tea again. It remains a symbol as to the different cultures that exist here in Hong Kong. British influence versus the Chinese influence. The British prefer milk in their tea with crumpets and scones and little cakes.
I don't have anything against crumpets or stone. I've never had a truly British scone. It looks goddamn delicious though. I've had, you can buy them and bake them and they puff up a little bit and they're stones and they're like triangle squared or something and they've got blueberry in them. They're good, but that looks much better. I don't like cream in hot tea. I don't like cream in my tea. I like fake sugar, a little bit of fake sugar, not much at all. But when I drink iced tea, no cream in that, and I can drink that plain, which is weird. I can drink that one plain, or I'll mix it in with like, so I got some Arizona iced tea. It was like blueberry, green tea, half lemon tea, the Arnold Palmer, or peach. Peach flavor is awesome for the iced tea. But I can drink that. I can drink iced tea without sugar. But I can't drink hot tea without it. And as I say that out loud, I'm realizing how stupid that sounds.
Whereas the Chinese will tell you they do not pervert their tea with milk. And they drink tea with dim sum, little buns and cakes. A British tea situation looks very different. These two traditions played out side by side in the city for many years in a divided way, with the Chinese down in their crowded slums drinking their tea in their tea houses, and the British up on the hills in their aristocratic homes sipping their milk tea. But eventually over time, those boundaries dissolved and the two cultures started to blend and fuse together.
經過咗幾十年甚至過百年嘅時間之後咧，慢慢其實中國人同歐洲人之間都有一種嘅深入嘅認識，同埋咧係一種嘅默契。
To where today, the tea culture has cropped up that is a perfect fusion of the two.
I was just about to say, after so long, the Chinese that are in the area, excuse me, Chinese in the area are going to want to try the British. Well, I just want to try that one. The British might say, you know what? I'll just go out and give this a try. Foreigners who show up are going to probably do the British one because it's, more Hong Kong centric if that's where they're going. But then they get out of the area and they're like, well, let's try this one. And then after a while, everyone is going to kind of blend what they like about this one and that one. The Chinese ones might say, you know what, with our dim sum and all the other things that they showed, I want to try some, I want you all, because I've tried it, I want you all to have try some of those British scones. Try this, try that. And I think after a while, it doesn't have to be authentic to what you as a people like. It should be what tastes good. And get out there and try something different. And, throw some milk in your tea if you feel like it. And don't. Who cares? Live however it tastes. If it tastes good to you, go for it. And if you want to have British tea and all the other Chinese, what would be the word? I want to say accoutrement, but I don't know if that's right. Delicious treats. How about that? Do it. What? Who cares? Like, do it. If it feels good, if it tastes good, for sure. And you're just kind of like, I'm not really hurting anything. I'm just mixing and matching. Do it. That's straight up half and half.
I hate to break it to you, Brit.
Like of milk and tea. That is way too much for me. But when I was little, we put a lot of milk in the tea. And I just got away from it as I was older because I also know that the tea is better if you don't have any of those. If you put cold milk in it, it kills a lot of those, I want to say flavonoids or whatever it is, but it kills a lot of the good in the tea that's good for you. So that's why I don't do it. Coffee's a different thing. I need cream in the coffee.
99 years is not forever, like the British diplomat thought it was going to be.
The actual handover ceremony is about to start.
British rule officially comes to an end with a handover ceremony just before midnight.
5-star flag of China, soon to be sovereign over Hong Kong again.
I should like, on behalf of Her Majesty the Queen and of the entire British people, to express our thanks, admiration, affection, and good wishes to all the people of Hong Kong.
On the stroke of midnight, the Red Star flag of China will go up.
For me, it was pure betrayal. We're like being abandoned by the Brits.
There was pride in this mix of like the Chinese values and I guess the Western values.
An identity of a citizen is not like determined by your passport or something. It's something that you treasure, the culture you're living in. We feel lost in our identity.
Our generation have very complicated.
They're saying they feel lost because Britain left. Okay, I get it, but still a lot of what the British influence is still there, I would think. So I don't know why, some of the British people might have left, but the influence is still there. You can still continue that. You don't need the British people to drink tea or have the treats that they have. You can make them. I'm guessing that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Britain giving Hong Kong back to China is the beginning of a new chapter for this city. And so next week, I'm going to explain what happens when China tries to erase this border between Hong Kong and mainland China and how the people here are resisting.
Okay, if China's trying to step in and remove a lot of that British culture and the customs that they had, I can understand why people might be kicking back on that. Is there a video? China's erasing its border with Hong Kong. But is that the same? That's just erasing the border, kind of like bringing them into the fold, but not necessarily removing all. Well, maybe they are. I don't know. I won't know until I do that video. And you know what? I think I'm going to do that video next. Well, anyways, I talked a lot and I do apologize. I hope you enjoyed, because I did. And until next time, I really want hot tea now. But I just had a pot of coffee. I mean, tea's not the same thing. But it's going to be really hot today. It's 10 a.m. I don't know. Iced tea it is then. Until then, have a good day. Have a good night.